Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Alexandria. I'm an American living in France, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about how the kids in France start school at 3 years old. You're not technically always 3 years old when you start. You can actually start school when you're still 2 because it depends on the school year that you start. The whole year from January to December, all of it. I know that in Texas, at least, we typically don't do that type of year. We will do any child born from September until August is counted as one school year. But in France, that's not how it goes. When the year you were born, 3 years exactly after you were born, even if you were born in December, you will be going to school. And so you will not be 3. You'll still be 2.5. But now teachers, and when you are in maternelle, you have an assistant teacher. So the teacher and the assistant are told that they have to change any child's diaper. So if your child is 2.5 and is not potty trained, they're going to change the diaper. They're going to put a diaper on your child for the nap. They're going to make sure everything's okay. You give them an extra pair of clothes to make sure that if there's any issues, not necessarily those type of issues, but if your child falls or if your child gets cold, you have just extra clothes in a bag next to their other stuff. So that is for that. That is only talking about maternelle. So what is maternelle? Maternelle is the school that is only for children between the ages of 3 to 5 years old. 3 different grades, go for 3 years, and then you go to elementary school afterwards. Now, from what I have seen where I live, maternelle and elementary schools are usually very, very close together. Maternelle, you have 3 different grades depending on how many people there are. Your child will be in a class that has only 1 grade, or it will be 2 grades in 1 classroom. Maternelle is the school that was built for the beginning of school life. And it's just there to teach you your ABCs, teach you your numbers, teach you simple problems and questions that is simple for children to learn at that age. Little songs and dances, field trips, activities, and whatnot. It's normal school. There's nothing different from the rest of your school years than what you have at the very beginning. It's a normal school. It's not a preschool. You don't have to pay for it. It's public service, and obviously it's free with the exception of lunch. The other thing that I like, that I only discovered really in detail after I started putting children into school, is how lunch is taken care of as well as daycare. The school offers daycare. I have never seen that happen in USA. I don't know if it's just Texas that's like that, but in France, you have daycare before school for about an hour and a half, and you have daycare after school for about 2.5 hours. And it's great. If ever you're running late, you don't have to worry about your child being just left there in the hallway, because I know for a fact my parents were late to pick me up on my first day of school in kindergarten, and there was not even the teacher anymore by the time they got there. In this school, that would never happen. The children are taken care of by the assistants who come and pick up all children who have not been taken home by their parents or guardians or whatever before a certain time. So when school lets out, which is give or take around 4:15, 4:30, 4 o'clock, you have about 10 minutes to go pick up your kid before they're like, okay, well, this kid, I guess, is staying here. So then let's go put them in the garderie, which is the daycare that is offered by the school. It's not free. There's about 30 minutes after school that is free, and 30 minutes before school that is also free, which is amazing. I love it. I just absolutely, I love this option. And you have about that 30-minute leeway between dropping off your child and picking up your child. And if ever you're running late or there's just no parking spot, because France's school system is really just like, okay, see that old building over there that's not been in use for a while? That could definitely be a town hall. Or you know what? It has a pretty big area in front of it. Let's make that the school. Yeah, that's basically how France decides what's going to be a school, because they don't just build new buildings all over the place. They will just take an old building, renew it a little bit, and then throw the kids in there and be like, okay, you have a new school. There's your school. And I wouldn't be able to tell you how old my kids' school is, but it's definitely an older building. And they definitely have issues sometimes because it's an older building and there's no AC. There's nothing. They have to bring in fans sometimes when it's really hot outside. Oh my God, it's going to be hot next week, isn't it? They have to bring in fans, and sometimes they'll just kind of stand there and beg the parents. They're like, do you have an AC unit that we can like roll into the room where the kids are sleeping? And parents have to just bring what they can to keep the kids from overheating in buildings that don't have AC. France has a way of taking care of the kids from the cold. They're not very equipped from the heat. And so, for example, next week it's going to be about 38 degrees, which is somewhere close to 100 Fahrenheit. And that school has no AC. And I'm a little bit worried about my kids. But, you know, they're used to it. They let them play water games. They kind of like shoot water out, and they ask you to bring stuff for your children. And it's this whole system. It's completely different than what I have lived through in USA, where there's always AC. In this one, it's very, very different. But speaking of areas where they put fans, kids, since they start at 2.5, 3 years old, they definitely have to take a nap. And so they do take a nap. And they're in a dortoir. So a dortoir is a place where it's just a room. It's a very tall room in this school, but it's just a room. You have these little short cots that the children all have their beach blanket. And then you just have that beach blanket down on their spot that is assigned to them. And they know exactly where to go. Their little lovey is waiting for them there. And they come back from lunch. They go in their bed and they sleep for about 2 hours. 2 hours. I could not believe it. They eat lunch for an hour. They sleep for 2 hours. And then they wake up. It's about time for them to get to the end of the day. They have about an hour before parents to come pick up their kids. And so then they'll finish their day. They'll go out for recess and then done. Finish with your day. And your 2-year-old, 3-year-old is coming home. They're very tired. But if they were able to take their 2-hour nap, they're still they're pretty good. If they're tired, you just wait. In 2 days, on Wednesday, that child doesn't have to go to school in the afternoon. So in France, they have a system where Monday and Tuesday, full days of school. You start around 8:30 and you go until about 4:30. You go on Tuesday, same, somewhere around 8:30 till about 4:30. And then on Wednesday, you go 8:30, 9-ish, somewhere around there, depends on the school. And then at noon, you go and you pick up your child. And everybody expects this from parents. Everybody is accustomed to Wednesdays are for children. Wednesday afternoons, people are going to take their days off. Wednesday, they're going to do something. And so very, very, very often, people who have young children, you don't see them on Wednesdays afternoon because they're gone to take their kid out of school. And then they have maybe an after school activity. A lot of the times on Wednesday, I see a lot of grandparents who come pick up their kids. Yeah, that one kind of hurts me a little bit. My kids' grandparents can't come do that, but we get past it. But no, a lot of the times it's a grandparent. So yeah, basically that's school life. That starts at 3. And maternelle finishes at grande section. You're a big kid. You're going to graduate from maternelle and go on to elementary school. And I will tell you a little bit about that next week when I tell you more about how elementary school goes. I hope you have a great day. See you then. Bye.